Welcome everybody to Talk That Talk, where we have unfiltered, uncensored, uncomfortable conversation.
All right. Welcome everybody to Talk That Talk. We have the unfiltered, unscripted, uncomfortable conversations about band, HBCU, band culture, music education, and more. Let me introduce the panel. We got Maya.
Howdy.
How's it going? And of course, me. I'm Jay.
It goes it.
What?
It goes it.
Oh, it goes it. All right. So first things first, I had to wear my Houston hat. I was doing that today, man. 713 day. Shout out to the H-Time. Shout out to the city. Already, baby. So yeah, I already had to do. Yeah, see, you to move back and you don't even recognize. See,
I just realized that. Wow.
Now you need to come on back to Dallas. You don't even know nothing about it. That is just so sad. Anyway, man. Well, let's go ahead and catch up. First of all, what's been going on with you? What new information you got? What you done watched? Anything? What you got?
Well, number one, it's hot, okay? Like, oh my, when I say it's hot, and I know that's the first thing that comes out of everybody's mouth, but it's truly hot, and I'm suffering. Even from the inside, I'm suffering.
Yeah, it's pretty warm out here. We cleaned our garage Monday and Tuesday.
Okay.
And it was about 107, 106 degrees. I can tell you, once we finish, we ain't want to do nothing else.
Yeah, it's draining. Like, I walk outside to take Sophie outside, child, please. It make you just want to sit down and just do nothing when Absolutely. You finish something like that. All something right. As small as that. But so on Twitter, Jordan posted I don't know if it's a clip or just a picture, but Fannie's band camp. Apparently, it's 600 students, and it's stated to be the largest in school history. Yeah. I haven't fact-checked that, but I just think that that's really, really, really awesome. Whether it's the largest, second largest, third largest, whatever largest, that's just crazy. Based off of what they've been going through and this brink that they've been on. So I'm totally excited. And they just came back from maybe not just, but they were in Paris?
Yep.
Some weeks ago for, I forget which show it was, which fashion show it was, but that's really, really awesome in itself. Like, how did that happen? But let's keep getting more stuff like that on the books because that's what we need. That's what we need. And I'm kind of looking it up too, but go ahead.
Yeah, I think it may have been Louis Vuitton. I think it was.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, that makes sense. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, man, shout out to them. I saw the picture of it in the band room. I was trying to grab it. But when I saw it, I was out and I was doing some other stuff, so I didn't get a chance to grab it. When I got back home, I couldn't find it again. But yeah, man, that shout out to them. I'm gonna be honest, they're kind of proving me wrong, which I think is a great thing. It's actually not a bad thing because of the fact that I felt that after the big hit that they took, and then them coming back, I kind of felt like, they will probably never get to the size that they used to be.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you got to turn out like that, that means that you got band directors who are interested, you got kids who are interested. And so that actually says a lot about the program and what they're doing, man. So huge shout out to them, man.
For sure. And I would honestly like to see the same thing happen for Morris Brown as they continue to revamp and, kind of implement where they are now. So hopefully they'll have that same momentum and they'll be able to reach those same expectations or, supersede them.
Yeah, definitely. And while you bring up Morris Brown, shout out to Morris Brown. I think they were just having, I think they are trying to bring back their Greek life. I think I saw that.
Yeah, I think I saw, I don't know what page. I think I saw it on Instagram.
Yeah. So
but yes, for sure.
Definitely shout out to them. It's not a band thing, but it's still relevant. But
It's
I
community
definitely,
for sure.
real talk, I want to see Morris Brown come back because, and I think I can't remember who I was having the conversation with, but I remember just saying how Morris Brown at one time was like the last strong band left in the state of Georgia, in the city of Atlanta. And so it would be great to see them coming back. And that's not to discredit any other programs that's out there, in Georgia, but it is to say that, that was the last kind of big powerhouse that we saw. And I think it's really interesting to have those high school bands that do really good in the state of Georgia and Atlanta specifically. But then you have the university programs that are not as big or not as strong. So, I would love to see Morris Brown come back and do some great stuff.
For sure.
And then get Bubbling Brown Sugar out there again, too. Because
period. Homegrown.
Listen, Bubbling Brown Sugar is a real quick story. 2000, no, was it 2000? Yeah, it was 2001, the year that Morris Brown played Texas Southern. And they came to Houston and they practiced on my campus at Willow Ridge High School. And Bubbling Brown Sugar came out, and I was, as a high school kid, I was like, yo, because real talk, being from Houston, I had never heard of Morris Brown.
Sure.
So when they came up there, we were like, who the hell is Morris Brown? And they stepped out, and first of all, I thought they sounded amazing. But yeah, I saw Bubbling Brown Sugar and I was hooked. That was, yeah.
I was like, yes, sir.
Yeah. I was, that was right up my alley. That's what I needed.
For sure.
I was like, yo, because I went up to the band director and I was like, yo, how do you get a scholarship? I need to know, like,
we need more of it.
I need some more of that. So yeah, but shout out to Morris Brown, man. You anything else you got?
Nothing I can think of, not off the top of my head.
All right, bet. So a couple of quick announcements. Then the first announcement is, I think it's official. 4 of the 5 of us will be at the National Battle of the Bands. Maya, are you gonna be there? Yes or no?
See.
All right. So 4 of the 5 of us are gonna be at the National Battle of the Bands. So I'm excited about that. Portia has let me know that she has secured her flight and her hotel. So the one thing I'm going to say to all our listeners, all of our viewers, everything, man, check in with us. We will be there. We'll probably figure out some stuff to do or some places to hang out, all that kind of stuff, and then we'll keep y'all updated so that we can probably do like a meet and greet or hang out or something to that degree. So yeah, we will all be at the National Battle of the Band. So check us out on that. I am super excited for that.
I'm thinking out loud. I was looking up the dates because I was playing it in my head of what is my schedule actually like. But August 27th, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, 27th. I'll be back home. Well, we'll be back home in the city on the 26th. Quan, I can't stand when you do that. You phony. I mean, I know what you're doing, but I'll just be like, no, you just, I mean, I know, but I told you don't. But yeah, so I'll be back in the city on the 26th, and then we'll have it on the 27th. And so we'll be there hanging out. We'll be doing our thing. So you can come. I'll let you guys know what we'll be doing as a group, and y'all can come link up with us. Also, DCI and DFW will be at Denton on the 21st. I will be out there checking out the DCI, the whole DCI thing in Denton. As a matter of fact, Rick will be out there as well with the Mandarins. So definitely, if you want to come check out DCI, if you want to do any of that kind of stuff, if you want to, be equal opportunity, come check out DCI. They will be in Denton on the 21st. If I'm not mistaken, they'll be in Houston on the 22nd. And I think San Antonio is the Texas Regionals. I believe that is the schedule. Somebody in the comments check me or fact check me just to make sure, but I believe that is the schedule. So I will be out there on the 21st, and I'm super excited about that. I can't wait to see my brother Rick and his group, and I just can't wait to see some drum corps and some of that going down. All right. And I did have another announcement, but I forgot what that announcement was. See, this is what happens when you get old and you get these little gray hairs and you just forget stuff. I need to start writing stuff down.
I was say you need to make you some notes. Put it on the side of the computer or something.
I typically have notes, but see, these are usually my notepad right here. But I've been really phony this past week because I've been super busy, and like I said, I was cleaning the garage and stuff like that, and that takes a lot out you. All right. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's get this thing started. I know where Quan is. He phony though. I'm just keep messing with Quan. And then I think Portia's supposed to be joining us later, but we're gonna go ahead and get started. Hey Maya, I'm gonna tell you right now, I need your Dallas to come out today.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
You can reach on in the back and get it.
Do you need to go and put a wig on? You good, or you just in case you need to snatch your wig off? I'm just saying. You know.
I'm gonna try my best.
Okay. That's cool. That's cool enough. I said I know where you at. You ain't got to say where you at. I know where you at. All right, man. Let's go ahead and get this thing started, man. Let's do it the right way. Welcome everybody to Talk That Talk. We have the unfiltered, unscripted, uncomfortable conversations about band, HBCU, band culture, music education, and more. Man, y'all go ahead and smash that like that. Let's go ahead and get these likes up. Hit the like button as soon as you walk in the room. Go ahead and get that done so we ain't got to worry about it later. All right. Also, please make sure you subscribe to the Passion Is Network and turn on your notifications. This episode will be up tomorrow on all your podcasting networks. Just type in Real Talk That Talk, except for Apple Podcasts, where you can type in Talk That Talk and it'll come up right for you. I do remember that last announcement that I had. So for those of you all who don't know, I have a brother. I have an older brother, as a matter of fact, who many people say we look alike. I don't know where they get that from. I actually disagree. But I just want to do a quick shout out to him and his podcast. He just started his own podcast. So, you know, if you guys want to hear some of that real, he's talking about current events and things like that with him and his group. If you want to hear his podcast is called We Solemnly Swear. Did I get that right?
I like it.
Yeah, we solemnly swear. And I know he is on Spotify and Google Podcast, and they're working on YouTube as well, and they're working on getting the Apple Podcast up. So yeah, go check him out. That's my big brother, man. You may listen to him and he may sound like me a little bit, but I mean that's my family, so I guess that's just how it goes down. But that was the other announcement that I did have. So go check out my brother's podcast. We solemnly swear. I know. Go ahead.
Is it like a spinoff of Harry Potter? Like I solemnly swear we are up to no good. We solemnly swear, or is that like?
I'm gonna be real honest with you. My brother, me and him are very similar in a lot of ways.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it ain't got nothing to do with no Harry Potter. I'm just
okay, no problem.
I'm sorry. My wife has been trying to get me on that Harry Potter kick, and I'm good.
You should.
No, I'm good. There are some things that I just choose not to watch. But shout out to my wife, though. I really want to actually shout her out very quickly because I've been trying to get her on the Star Wars game for a minute, and now she finally on it, and now she's a fan. So shout out to her, man. Hey, I don't have Star Wars until you really get into it. Walter, I know I forgot the name of your joint, but put the name of your joint in there and I'll shout your podcast out too. All right, man, let's go ahead and get into these topics. Actually, what I know that we have actually passed the HBCU band kind of culture, or not band culture, but that season, and now everybody's going into band camp, which actually made me bring up some other thoughts that I had in my mind. It surely is not about band camp. We can talk about band camp another time because it's hot and I don't want to think about no band camp. I don't want to even imagine being out in band camp in 103, 104, 105, 106 degree weather. That's just not what I am about. I ain't gonna talk about that, but I will, and we will talk about college life because I think that's very interesting right now. And the ideas and the thought process of college. So let's go ahead and get into it. So here's the first question, and Maya, obviously we're gonna go back and forth, but why did you choose an HBCU?
To be honest with you, I chose PV before I put PV in the realm of HBCUs. So I knew about PV before I knew about quote unquote HBCUs. So I chose PV because I wanted to dance. So my answer is a little bit different. Now I'm glad I chose where I went. But like I said, it wasn't that I sought after HBCUs because I wasn't really as aware as I could have been. Neither my mother or my father went to a HBC, so it's not like that was something that was passed down. So I frankly just chose because I want to be out there on the 50 dancing.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Walter's podcast, brother Walter, his podcast is 2 cent you call it. 2 cent you call it. I don't know that. I don't know. Oh, it seems like a bunch of liquor. God dang, this is what happens when you got a lot of hair. Anyway, seems like some liquor. But yeah, 2 cent you call it. That's Walter's podcast. Why I chose HBCU? Real talk. I honestly didn't know like anything else.
Yeah.
And it's not even like, I was just completely oblivious to predominantly white institutions and things like that because my mother, she did go to U of H. She did get, I think it was her master's degree from U of H or another undergraduate degree from U of H, but she also went to ULM. So I honestly knew about predominantly white institutions, but in the realm of like the spectrum of like college life and band and stuff like that, I really didn't know anything about a predominantly white. Only thing I knew was which HBCUs. It was interesting going through my garage today, or not today, but Monday and Tuesday, because I had the chance, and I typically do this maybe about once every 2 years. I had the chance to pull out some of my my applications and scholarship letters, and it was interesting to see the number of HBCUs that I did apply to. But then now that I'm older, I'm looking back now and I'm like, why just an HBCU? So I really just did not and was completely unaware of what predominantly white institution bands were. And the truth of the matter is, you don't ever really see them come to your school to recruit you.
See, that's a good point because I was just about to try and figure out if I can put myself back where I was when I was in school. And the only really quote unquote recruitment that I knew of was band related. It was everybody that was coming back that went to Townview, that was coming back from their respective schools. And that is just what we knew as quote unquote recruitment. Of course, a lot of people went to PV. We have people that came back from Grambling, from Langston, maybe. I'm not really sure. But in and of itself, those are still HBCUs. So I don't know. I guess I was just kind of surrounded by it. But that's really, really true. I don't know how many HBCUs, and maybe it's better in today's time, but not that I can think of, but also maybe it has to do with the school that I went to in general, that I went to a magnet school, that not a lot of HBCUs were reaching out or going that route per se. So I'm not exactly sure, but I mean, my dad went to Grambling. My sister went to University of Houston. So, I mean, it's like I was aware, but I was like, girl, please. One, I was 17 going to school, right? So I wasn't able to go far to begin with because my mom was like, no, we're not doing that out of state stuff. But I'm too young. But two, it was really more just like, I want to be a Fox. So that's exactly where I'm going.
Yeah, you were determined just to be a Fox. I mean, which is fair. Like I said, for me as a band person, as a trumpet player, as a screamer, when I was in college, when I was in high school, I only looked up real talk, Screaming Demons and Trump Funk. That's all I knew. And I always wanted to actually be Trump Funk. I wanted to go to Jackson State and be Trump Funk. But when the opportunity came for me to do it, the story really goes, my boys my crab brothers that I came with in high school with, they were going to go to Jackson originally, and I was going to go with them. But then randomly at the last minute, they made a decision that they were going to go to Southern. So they ended up going to Southern. And I was like, I don't want to go to Southern. I'm good. And really, I just didn't want to go where other people who had come from my school had gone. the typical places. So most of them were either going to Texas Southern or Prairie View, and I just didn't want to go there.
Sure.
So yeah, but on average, predominantly white institutions, unless it's a college fair, don't come to schools to recruit. Like, you don't physically see band directors walking into band rooms to recruit students. So I think that is the other reason that I specifically chose HBCU, and why I didn't or was not aware of predominantly white institutions, because you don't see them.
Sure.
So I guess for me, my question would be, why is it that you don't see those band directors and things, or recruiters from predominantly white institutions walking into band room, walking into dance room classes, walking into auxiliary classes, and coming into those spaces and actually recruiting?
Honestly, I think that I can only speak from my frame of reference, of course. And I would like to say that possibly there's potential depending on what schools you're going to, right? So maybe had I went to, I don't even know what would have been, quote unquote, a predominantly white or a white school within Dallas. I went to Townview. It was very much, it's a magnet school, but when you think about the demographics of it all, there were a lot of Black people that went there, and the band in and of itself was pretty, anyways.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe that has something to do with it, because when I think about it now, like Dr. Zachary, right? He's very, very big on recruitment and has made it something to where he goes back and they do these tours, right? To be able to give that type of exposure or recruitment. I don't know what the quote unquote white schools may be around town, but possibly schools like, I don't know, USC or whomever, Ohio State, maybe they're going to those types of schools. Maybe they're going to the Mansfield schools and the Plano schools or whom have you, but I wasn't there, so I'm not exactly sure. So that would only be my thought process, is that I think it just maybe comes down to where you're going to school. Because why would technically an Ohio State come to little old Townview or go to SOP or something like that?
So I'll say this, I just worked recently for one of the top programs in the state of Texas, out in Duncanville, and they didn't come there either, but those kids go there. Those kids participate, and those kids go to UNT, and they go to Sam Houston, and they go to SMU. Like, they go to these places, but they don't come in, into the band room, and they don't have this huge announcement, band director from UNT is going to be here, so y'all make sure y'all try. Like, it just didn't happen at all. But they go to those schools, and I think, I don't know, I don't know if it's a sense of like, we know they're gonna come anyway.
Yeah, that was gonna be my next point. Do they probably feel like they don't have to? Why waste the time and money? My school and then our name that we've made for ourselves is what it is. So if people want to come, they're gonna come regardless. The numbers are not going to waver based off of, did I make sure that I went to the northeastern region, the northwestern region, the southern region, what have you. We are Ohio State. We are whoever. The folks gonna come. So that's bullet number 2.
So is that a fair approach to take with HBCUs? Why is it that HBCUs can't take that approach?
I think it depends on which HBCU you're talking about, my friend.
I think so. You think that
if you really want to get into it, I think it depends on which HBCU we're talking about.
So you're basically saying, in a nutshell, and I'm just going to spitball some out here. Obviously, I'm going to name Southern. If Southern, Jackson, I'll throw Alcorn in the group. And I'll even, and I'll be fair, I'll even throw PV in the group. And the only reason I'm throwing PV in the group is because we've seen the numbers grow at Prairie View.
Sure.
So in the past couple of years, as a matter of fact. So if we take those 4 schools out of it and we say they never recruit, you mean to tell me that schools like in Texas Southern and schools like Langston and I'll say it, Texas College Kentucky State, like these schools will never get kids unless they go out and recruit?
I won't say never, but I do think that there is a scalable difference between the size of these programs year over year. I do think that, and even if they do go out and recruit, right? Because I think it goes back down to a lot of the kids that are coming from or coming to these HBCUs are needing what? Funds, they're needing support. So I think it also depends on what type of pockets, how deep these folks' pockets are too. And of course, the bigger the program, sometimes the bigger the pockets. So I think that has something to do with it too. And I think it's the overall approach. We've talked about it, shows behind. It's really what's appealing to the folks. It's really, okay, well, do I get to go out here and do a little dance, do a little 1-2? Or do I get to have fun of it all? Do I get to travel? Do I get to, there's so many different things. But to answer your original question, yes, I do think that as long as these larger, well-funded, entertaining, loud programs continue to thrive, absolutely, it's going to be hard for the smaller programs, recruiting or not, to be able to break through and expand those numbers. Now, I think FAMU is a little bit different because you're going off of legacy and you're going off of some, well,
I'm about to say, wait a minute now, that because
yeah, I was like,
don't most of these schools have legacies? Don't most of these schools have a history? I mean, let's
sure,
really
but
no, let's be real. Let's be real. Mississippi Valley has a history of being a pretty good program.
Okay.
They had numbers.
Okay.
But they don't have numbers anymore.
Okay.
Shout out to Mississippi Valley because I know they just got a new director. But I'm just saying, in general, they've had a good program.
Sure.
So they have history, they have legacy. So where does that history and legacy not matter anymore to where they can't no longer, they have to now go out and physically recruit? I mean, yeah,
that's a good question. I don't know the answer to that, but that's a good question because when you break it down to it, I don't know where the shift occurred, right? Because there's obviously been a shift and a transition over the years, whether we've had numbers go up and down, even in our own program, even at PV, numbers have year over year typically have gone up, but we've still have seen some shifts that have happened, and it's just shifting style, shifting. I was gonna say management. I'm thinking about work. Shifting shifting
that
leadership.
Still counts. That's still management, regardless.
I mean, sure. Shifting leadership. Layers. It's layers to this conversation for sure.
Yeah, I that's something that does bother me. And when I was teaching out there, that's one of the things that I thought about. Like being there, I never even when I was teaching in Dallas Independent School District, and I was there, I found it really interesting. Because I'm equal opportunity all the way. Like sure. If anybody knows me, I'm not just gonna pump the HBCU. I'm gonna pump all programs. And I always say, choose the program that's best for you, that's going to benefit you in the long run. That's what I've always told my students. So I would put posters in the room of Texas Tech, obviously, because I graduated from there. But I would put posters up. Well, no, I would put posters of Texas Tech. I would put posters of Sam Houston. But I have posters of stuff from like other HBCUs. I don't. But those HBCUs will send emails and call and be like, hey, we're doing a tour. We're going to recruit. The predominantly white institutions, they hit you with the poster daddy. They send you the information on the band camp stuff. And that's pretty basically about it. They don't do nothing else. And I just find it very interesting, the fact that there is this, I don't want to say arrogance, but there's this like prestige of, we don't gotta come around and try to recruit you because we know you're gonna come anyway. But I think that there is a little bit to what you said in relation to the change, right? And the shifts in these programs, the consistency. FAMU, regardless of the situation, has been consistent.
Sure.
You know that you gonna get that rattle. You know they gonna come out on the field the same way. They gonna give you the same, a pretty decent or same type of show. You know, without a shadow of a doubt, Southern is not gonna change. Southern is gonna be Southern. Southern's gonna Southern. Jackson is going Jackson. And I think that in totality, I think that there is some truth to what you're saying, because there's a consistency of what they do. You look at these predominantly white institutions and their programs, they don't shift in what they do. They are consistent across the board, and that's what people gravitate to. I think those kids, and I'm just assuming, I think those kids see that, and they see these programs doing the same thing, and that's just what they're interested in. So
potentially, yeah, I feel that. I think possibly region or who's who within a particular state could possibly have something to do with it. But then also when I think about the predominantly white schools, I take it a little bit further than just the band experience as well. A lot of people still go and say that though the PWI degrees, an education from a PWI is on a higher scale and a higher level than that of the HBCU. Therefore, yes, I may miss out on my band experience, or I may get a portion of a band experience if I'm switching styles. But at the end of the day, my degree, that piece of paper, is going to have a particular name on it. And so at the end of the day, that's what I care the most about. And I'm going to go that route. I think that is potentially another factor of it as well.
Yeah, I think, and we can dive into that a little bit more because the next topic is actually going slightly into that. So with that being said, let's switch over to the next topic. Welcome everybody to Talk That Talk, where we have the unfiltered, unscripted, uncomfortable conversations about, go ahead and get your drink, band, HBCU, band culture, music education, and more. Man, y'all go ahead and tap that like daddy as soon as y'all come in. And also, please make sure you subscribe to the Passionates Network. This episode will be up on all your podcasting networks. Just type in Real Talk That Talk, except for on Apple Podcasts, where you just need to type in Talk That Talk. It'll pop right up. You'll see all 5 of our beautiful faces. All right. So going in and continuing that conversation, is there a such thing as a BS degree? Is there is there a such thing as a BS degree?
Oh Lord. Woo. So yikes. This is not okay. Because yeah. What do the football players have a degree in? It's like collegiate physical education.
I'm not even gonna ask. I don't know.
Walter put it in the comments. He know what I'm talking about. Whatever.
I have no idea.
We would always say a lot of the football players had this. Their major was, I can't think of it right now. Yes, potentially. I don't know. I'm on the fence because being on the outside and having worked in corporate and knowing the odds and ends that it's like you can really kinesiology. Hello, thank you. And it's
kinesiology. Yeah, kinesiotherapy, kinesiology. Yeah. All right.
See, honestly, those who don't know, a lot of folks, I've heard people say that music degrees are bullshit degrees. Those who don't really know the odds and ends that it takes health and human performance. That's exactly what I was thinking too. I think that the masses will say it. I think that potentially yes, but I don't think that has to be your end all. My degree is in psychology. You can say that it's a BS degree because depending on if you don't plan to go to school and achieve your master's or get your PhD, then what are you really using it for? We could break down the sciences of that, but I say, yeah, I'm just going to say yes and no. I'm just going to say yes and no.
So let me read this and then we'll dive deeper into this. 15 worst college majors for a lucrative career. Number 15, advertising. All right. 14, animal science. 13, athletic training. 12, fashion merchant. There's a fashion merchandising degree?
Absolutely.
Never knew that.
I think
Never.
it's a I'll look it up. Go ahead.
11, religious studies. Number 10, hospitality and tourism. Number 9, fashion design. Number 8, paralegal studies. Number 7, art history. Number 6, art. Number 5, theater. Number 4, graphic design. Number 3, culinary arts. Number 2, radio and television. And coming in at number 1, photography.
And these are considered the top 15 BS degrees for a lucrative career.
This is from Kiplinger.com. This is 15 worst college majors for a lucrative degree.
When was this published or cited or
I got you. Hold up. See, I want to make sure I get this was in 2019.
Because I was gonna say for graphic design to be on there, that's
I think, but here's the thing, because I'm questioning some of those things in there, you know. Sure. But I also think that some of the things that are in there are degrees in which are massively competitive. Like, so the photography game, right? Like, and this is no slight to photographers, but it's almost like photography now. Anybody is just like, I'm gonna go pick up a camera and be a photographer. Sure. Like it's really, I mean, I'm gonna say this. My line brother from high school, he's a photographer, but he ain't go to school for that. It's almost like when I started being a DJ. I started DJing when I was 16. And when I started DJing, I started out on the original belt drive turntable and crates and all that. So I started from the grits. And so as I was coming up being a DJ, like I worked hard at that. But now it's almost like, well, shit, I can go buy the new N60 whatever and put that together and throw some MP3s in there, and I can call myself DJ blah 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 blah. You know, and so you end up losing money because it's so easily accessible and it's massively competitive. So I think that a lot of those degrees in which were mentioned on there are just massively competitive to where the market is super saturated, and it's almost difficult to really, make money off of it. Let me see. I'm gonna look up another one though. But go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Well, you switched directions. I thought that you were going somewhere else, but you didn't. So
no, go ahead where you thought I was going, because we gonna hit it all.
Oh no, because I was gonna say this. Garrett, does he have a degree in social media? Now I don't know if he has a communications degree, whomever, but I was gonna say basically, if it's a BS degree or whatever, and you still decide to use your talents or your hobbies to be able to make it your life's purpose or what have you, then I mean, it is what it is. That's why I say yes and no to the whole BS degree, because sometimes at the end of the day, I don't know what I want to do in life, but I know for me to be able to quote unquote get ahead, or for at least for me to be able to get some type of job to start myself off, that I need to have a degree. Right now, a lot of job descriptions are just asking for a bachelor's degree. It doesn't necessarily have to be in a particular field. And I mean, it's a finesse's world. I can finesse and make my degree or make my whatever, do what it do and do what it needs to be able to get the jobs, to be able to at least put myself in the same community as the jobs that I need. I'm speaking for an experience, because I go from psychology to software. You know what I'm saying? So,
but I think here's the other part about that. You said something that just really touched inside of my soul and my spirit.
What?
So the goalposts keep moving though. You know what I'm saying? At one time it was like you just need a high school diploma to do some of this. Now it's like then next it was like you need a bachelor's degree to do X. Now a lot of people are like, yo, you need a master's degree.
I almost felt you, because now I would say that that's wrong. I say at one point, yes, we were at like, well, I got to get my master's to even be in the realm of people where it was just a bachelor's degree. Or now they're often people with master's degree entry level positions. But as much as STEM is taking, or well, I would say tech is taking over, and you necessarily don't have to have a degree in tech to really make it. And that's why I say yes to some extent. I think it depends on where you're trying to go. I think it really depends on where you're trying to go, who you have in your back pocket, and how good of a mouth you got on you.
Pause. But
yes, please pause.
but no, I
can't believe I said that.
You can't. Hey, I'm just saying you can't
That's
say
not
that.
what I meant.
I know what you meant. I'm just saying you can't say that. But no, you good. But no, I think you said something that's true. You know, STEM, like regardless of how we try to slice it, STEM is where the money's at.
Oh, for sure.
You know, I've you know, I watch a lot of podcasts and a lot of shows, and a lot of them are like, yo, man, look, I know y'all want to try to go and do the stuff that you love and what you like, but you going to get a degree in basket weaving and you can't figure out why you ain't making XY amount of dollars. You can't think that you're going to be this as successful as you want to be and you not in STEM. That's where the money is. Everything else is like you just trying to be fluffy. Yeah. I mean, the truth is music is the same way. As a person who graduated in music and music education, it's 1, super saturated, 2, massively competitive, 3, if you ain't gigging, or I mean, you gonna be working hard, bro. Like, and I'm not saying that no other situation you're not gonna work hard, but what I'm saying is they just put up a post in Facebook. I don't know if anybody's seen this, anybody out there who's watching, they just put a post up in Facebook talking about the pay scale for North Carolina educators. Mm-hmm. They like super excited. They posted this joint up. I'm gonna see if I can find it in a second. But they posted this joint up like, yeah, we're moving forward with our North Carolina education. The starting pay, if I'm not mistaken, was like 30. They said the way the pay that it used to be, I think, was like $35,000 starting pay for an educator.
Child, the bus drivers in Plano ISD get paid $25 an hour, $23.
Listen, when I saw that, I was like, that's got to be the biggest slap in the face that I've ever seen in my life. And then they had next to it the new starting pay, $37,000.
Tough. Come on, $2,000. Come on, $4,000. Like, yes, I needed this.
But here's the unfortunate thing, right? As Black people, as people of color, when we go and we get into our universities and all this kind of stuff, are we having these conversations with our students as teachers? Are we having these conversations with our kids as adults, right? Like, are we telling them, is like, are we saying, hey, look, I know you want to do this, but you want to try to do something that sustains you, right? And then if we are having that conversation, is that helping or is that hurting, right? Because I know me as a parent, I always want to make sure that I'm fueling my kids' dreams and my kids' passion, but I also want to make sure that they survive. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, sure. My kids, I'm a slightly different parent. My kids will always be welcome in my house, but I want to make sure that they can still sustain themselves. But you know, I want to make sure that they can live and survive. And if you go and get a freaking florist degree, you know what I'm saying, or crocheting degree, I'm gonna sit back and be like, bro, like, nah, we got to find something else, my guy. Like, that's not gonna work.
Sure. I mean, I'm with you. When you were saying that, my thought went to, if we have these conversations, right? Now let's go back to the side where a degree may not necessarily mean that you're going to have the lifestyle that you want. And a lot of people are becoming entrepreneurs, or they're making these businesses off of their talents or off of their side hustles younger and younger, and they're starting to establish these platforms, especially with social media, to where they're making dollars way before an astronomical amount of dollars than we've ever seen before. Yes, there's still few and far between, but I mean it's so prevalent to be able to go viral, or for these things to happen, and for you to get the platform that you're wanting than it used to be. So all that to say, if we do have these conversations, ultimately, do we think that or not HBCUs, but let's just say HBCUs or the bands in general will technically suffer, right? Because what if everybody's like, oh, I'm gonna figure out how to code while I'm in high school or whatever. I ain't even gotta go to school because I can be making hundreds of thousands of gajillion $1 million before I even leave the house, before I even turn 18 or what have you. And I don't even have to go to school. I don't even have to do whatever, because I can sustain my life and my mama's life too. And I ain't got to I don't have to put
I mean, hey, if you're trying to make that money, you're gonna have to put out at some point. I'm just saying,
something's gonna have to get put out one way or another. But I mean,
gonna have to put out.
That makes me think about that as well. At some point, is our culture going to dry up? Because honestly, if we just gonna say it, the black folks is gonna always do it better than the other folks. And no ifs, ands, buts about it. If you teach the blacks, we the blacks, how to do a little something.
See, so I'm gonna agree with Walter too, right? It's not necessarily only at HBCUs. It's really not.
Well, sure, I can agree with that.
BS degrees, in my personal opinion, for those who do believe in BS degrees, are everywhere.
Yes.
But I think that I don't know. Well, let me post this up and then we get back to it. So this is it right here. If y'all can see that, previous annual salary, starting pay for a teacher, $35,920. That there before taxes.
I've been saying that increase ain't nothing but taxes, and it ain't even all of the taxes.
Listen, usually when they hit you with a $1,000 degree of $1,000 increase, you're only getting maybe about 50 to 100 extra on your check.
If that, it'll depend on what your benefits looking like.
That's what I'm saying. So if real talk, if you have a family, I'll say of 3, you, your wife, and your child, not even adding a dog, that ain't cutting it, my guy. And then they happy about this extra increase. They like, oh yeah, listen,
we really about to give it to them.
When I started teaching in the state of Texas, my starting pay was where it said 25 plus. That was my starting pay in the state of Texas. The fact that North Carolina is doing that is just abysmal.
Yeah.
It's abysmal. And yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. But that goes back into what we're talking about. The idea that there are some BS degrees and music is on there. Let me pull up this other one. This is in 2022. This is from wealthydiligence.com. 10 worst majors in careers in 2022, lowest paying careers. So let's see if some of the same ones from 2019 are on this 2022. Number 1, starting off the list, hospitality and tourism. Average salary is $24,000. What is? Come on, please tell me what is hospitality and tourism. What is that? Like, do you just work in hotels all day? I don't know what that is.
I think it has to do with that and like travel agencies and things of that nature. I think.
Okay, I don't know. I see that. I think U of H has a hospitality degree where they also have a hotel on the campus, and I think the hospitality students work in the hotel. So I'm assuming that that's what that is. Number 2, theology and religious studies. So if you're trying to go be somebody pastor, you doing it because you love the Lord. And listen, I love the Lord. Now, I'm not going to sit up there
specifically. And you got a few mustard seeds of faith, okay?
So Number 3, social work. They said the starting average salary is $37,000.
And that's ridiculous. Based off of what them folks got to go through.
Listen. Number 4, human services and community organizations. So these are like substance abuse counselors, rehabilitation counselors. The average salary is $38,000. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. I got to put it out there because this is what it says. Education's number 5. Average salary is $39,000. Education. So, I mean, I'm gonna have to go when it comes to this education thing. It really is exactly the thing that Quan always talks about. You got to do it because you love it. And that's not to say that everywhere pays $38,000-$39,000, but that is to say that we all know that educators don't get their fair shake for what they deal with on a consistent basis. Now, can you make more in education? Yeah, I mean, but that's if you went to school to be a teacher, period, point blank. That's where you're gonna pretty basically stay, whatever it is, whatever that is. But if you're trying to go up, be an administrator, being a curriculum coordinator, all that kind of stuff, moving up the ladder, you have the possibility to make a lot of money or a little bit more money. But the truth is, a lot of people didn't want to do that. A lot of people just wanted to be in there with them babies and get cussed out. All right, number 6, animal science. Number 7, health and fitness. Number 8, you want to hear number 8? Please. Psychology. Starting pay, average pay $42,000. Number 9, criminal justice. Number 10 is arts, design, visual, and performing arts. So that's going back to graphic design, photography, fashion design, illustrator, painting, acting, blah 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 blah. So yeah, this is
sad.
It's sad, but it's also sad because of the fact that I just don't know how do you move out of that idea and that thought process of calling that or looking at that as a BS degree. How do you move out of that thought process of telling a kid, well, I know that you like this, but you should be doing this? How do you do that? How do you navigate through that and get a kid to truly understand that?
You just tell them. I mean, I mind you, this is coming from somebody who's not a parent, but I say that to say, like, with my nieces, right? Or with me. My father told me when I went to, or even before I went to PV, he said, as a Black woman, you need to go into engineering or architecture. By the time you get out of school, it would behoove you to do so. My Black ass ain't listening. Went straight on to that psychology because I was too busy trying to be on the 50-yard line, shaking them fringes, okay? But I see now. But when it comes to my nieces, I'm telling their mothers, my sister has a master's degree. She's telling the same thing in terms of STEM, or look what you can do. Maybe it's I don't know. The kids these days are a little bit smarter, a lot smarter than we give them credit for. They got things like TikTok and all this other type of stuff. And I think that they do honestly understand.
But that's the thing, right?
What?
So here's the thing about that, right? So first of all, I think the kids are smarter.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think the kids are smart. I'm not gonna sit up here and say they're smarter, but I think they're smart. But but I also think that they are oblivious. I think they're intelligently oblivious. They do believe that TikTok and the like are the saving grace and the rationale and the financial freedom that they want, right?
Sure.
But one, just like anything else, TikTok is massively competitive.
Right.
Right. And before I go into everything else, I'm gonna say I had a student like that. Like I had a student who refused to do the work. Like I would come in and I'd say, hey, play this, do this. Mr. Luke, I ain't trying to do that. You know what I'm saying? I was like, well, what are you planning on doing with yourself? You know, because I don't mind talking to these kids and trying to figure out. But I'm like, what are you planning on doing with yourself? Well, shoot, I mean, I could just go on YouTube. I mean, I ain't gotta be, you know, I can just get on YouTube and do hair tutorials and blah blah blah. And I'm like, you do realize, and I'm telling her coming from someone who's doing YouTube, right?
Sure.
Like who gets this stuff.
Sure.
I said, you do realize like this is difficult. It's not something that you can wake up and then you pop in and then it just happens. You actually have to plan. You gotta market. You gotta social media. You gotta do all of that. So you don't just post and go. Like there are things that you have to do to be considered even worth watching, and it's competitive. Everybody, especially what you want to do the same thing. And I have to, and I'm not gonna say it to be rude or whatever, but you want to do the same thing that most Black women are doing right now. Hair, nails, eyelashes. I mean, and we just gonna keep it a buck. You want to go out and get on YouTube and do that same thing, and then what are you going to do to stand out above the rest, right? So they don't realize that. They think that the TikTok is the end all be all. The other part about that is it's quick, it's fleeting. Once you get it, let's say you did happen to make it, right? You are that one random person who goes viral. All right, what are you going to do after that?
Sure.
You get your bread. What are you going to do after that? Do you know about investing? Do you know about IULs? Do you know about these things that are going to continue to allow your money to keep growing? Or are you just going to do it and say, I done made it now?
Right.
Well, I don't know. I think that, I don't know. I think that there's a big issue when we start looking in those avenues. But I also think there's an issue when we ain't telling these kids like, yo, there are some degrees out there that just phony. I don't know.
I mean, I feel you. I think honestly, it's just a whole melting pot of send help us, because who really has the answers? Because I mean, truly, right? So you can say, okay, hey, just like my father told me, this is probably what you need to do. Look at these statistics. Look at this, that, and the third, right? I started off, I was like, okay, I'm not going to pick a major yet. In school, even if your mother's the type, or a father, or whomever, your guardian is willing to when you're a freshman or when you're entering school, sign you up for whatever classes. I don't even know how it works these days, or enter you into what degree as an adult. Once you get on that campus, you can change around your degree, this, that, and the third, your general studies versus picking nominating a major or what have you as many times as you want to. So I really think it's more so just doing your due diligence. But at the end of the day, it's also a little bit of just figuring out it as you go, because we've all had to do it. I don't think the majority of us are doing what we thought we were going to do, or at least not in the scale in which we thought we were going to be doing it. And I think it's just a lot of trial and error. It's just honestly a piece of it as well. You can encourage as much as you want to. You can try and show as much as you want to, develop and, kind of be a community for someone or a people. But at the end of the day, they're going to end up doing what they want to do. Again, I ain't got no kids. Call me Mrs. Dog Lady. I ain't got no kids. So I don't really know what it's like to parent. I'm going to say that again and again and again. But
it's not as easy as people think. I'll tell you that.
Why you think I'm Mrs. Dog Lady?
I think you can do it. I can tell you that.
Send help, okay? Please.
All right.
On the main line, okay?
So first of all, yeah, you're right, Walter. No, who knows to do that at 17? You're absolutely right. I can tell you, at 17. All I wanted to do was be a band director, because that's what my mentor did. I looked up to him. I thought he was extra dope and super cool. That's what I want to do, blah, 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 blah. So I going into something that's actually part of, you keep leading into these next topics, man. You such a natural at this. Man, look at this. Look at that. You better get that dirt off your shoulder, Jay-Z. All right, here we go. Welcome everybody to Talk That Talk. We have the unfiltered, unscripted, uncomfortable conversations about band, HBCU band coaching, music education, and more. Man, y'all go ahead and smash that like that, especially for this conversation that we having today. All right. Also, please make sure you subscribe to the Passion Is Network and turn on notifications. This episode will be up on all your podcasts and networks. Just type in Real Talk That Talk, and if you're on Apple Podcasts, type in Talk That Talk. It'll come up right for you. All right. let's go ahead and get to the next topic of the night. I mean, we didn't have this conversation about BS degrees, and as a matter of fact, before I go to the next topic, I'll say this too. A lot of people don't know I do have a music education degree, but my music education degree is also a media. So I have a media degree. So the reason why a lot of people are like, man, you know how to do this, I kind of know how to do that because I've been in a lot of different situations because of the degree. Between like I said, I started DJing at 16, but between that and doing videos, I used to do videos for Norfolk State, the Spartan Legion Band, for a while. I did graphic design. I did all of it. So, my degree in some type of way helped me, but it's still, to me, and the totality of the degree still kind of a BS degree. All right. So here we go. So let's go to the next topic. Did you feel prepared leaving college? Did
to
you
do what?
Exactly. Did you feel prepared leaving college?
No, I didn't know what I was about to do. I stayed in college an extra semester just so I wouldn't have to leave. I picked up a minor in communications, call it a BS degree or a BS minor, just so I was not ready to face the real world. I chose psychology. By that point, I had already fallen out of love with it. I knew I was not about to pursue it. I didn't really see myself going to get my master's degree at the time. I didn't see myself continuing school. I was in that brink of, I don't know what I'm about to do, but I know I'm tired of being in school. And I know I don't want to pursue my degree. So what am I supposed to do? So was I prepared? No. I wasn't prepared for anything. It was just building up the plane and flying it. But did I know that? Was I prepared for my career? No. Did I feel like I could manage life? Yes. So I think that it depends on which side of it that you're trying to be on. But in terms of feeling prepared, well, I wouldn't even say I was sure if I was prepared for life, because that was a little bit of a shell shock as well. Being a little bit more sheltered and spoiled than the average college student, and beforehand was also a bit of shell shock to me as well. So did I feel prepared? Maybe all in all, I guess not. I didn't know what I was doing. I still am not sure if I know what I'm quite doing. I have it figured out for the most part now. So no, I don't feel prepared. And I would love to hear from somebody who felt that they were prepared, because what does that look like?
Yeah, I was I was definitely gonna say that same thing. I don't know too many people who were like, yeah, I was ready when I left. I was like, but I think that, and I don't know if it has to do with the university. I don't know if it has to do, when I'm talking about the specific university, I don't know if it has to do with the type of university, whether it's an HBCU or a predominantly white institution.
Fair.
But I really don't know too many people who were like ready to go when they left college. It was, I'm figuring it out. And it may be because I just know a bunch of people who are in education. I think that may be it as well, right? Because we've talked about it a lot on the show that a lot of educators weren't prepared when they tipped. Like, they didn't have the knowledge that they were supposed to have. They didn't have the tools that they were supposed to have. They walked into a teaching situation that was not the ideal situation that they were told about. It was not their I can't even think about it right now. Their student teaching situation, it just wasn't any of that. And so when they walked out and they walked into their own position, it was a position of uncertainty. It was a situation of uncertainty. So I really don't know what that looks like. I know I have talked to my professors at Tech, and I've heard them mention that they have schools specifically connected to the university that they more or less try to get their students, their graduating students in as, teachers once they graduate. So I know that those types of things are happening in certain places, but in totality, I don't know what being prepared looks like.
Yeah.
Like people say, like you were about to say, and I know kind of Walter kind of said it in the chat, he was prepared for life. I don't even know what that looks like, right? Because college, you can say whatever you want to say. College shelters, it's shelters. But you get 3 square meals a day, and if you living on campus, you straight. Like you not think about all that kind of stuff now. And then now it's a whole nother ball game when you're talking about loans and stuff like that. Because when you graduate, you wouldn't even think about them loans.
I was gonna say, who was worried about that?
It was like, yo, we still good. And then they all of a sudden you hit that graduation and they send you that information and you like, well, what the? I
Deferred. That's what somebody told about deferred. Great. It still ain't got to think about it. Pass it to the next year or next whatever.
You are terrible.
I'm being honest. That's exactly what happened. You said what loans? I don't know. I don't know who she is. Defer it. We'll think about it later.
I'm just saying. At the end oh god, that's so terrible. At the end of the day, though, I'm just saying, like, I don't know what being prepared for life looks like. Like,
yeah,
what does that look like? I can't listen. I left Houston, went to Virginia, stayed in Virginia for 8 to 9 years, left Virginia and went to St. Croix. Like that, I wasn't prepared for none of that.
Sure.
At all. I wasn't prepared to meet a group of people I ain't never been around before. Like I wanted the experience. Don't get me wrong. That, you know, blue water. By the way, side note, I made myself a promise. I will never again get in brown water again after living in St. Croix for 2 years. You ain't got to make that face. You don't act like you ain't never been to Galveston. You know what that water looked like in Galveston. So
exactly. And when I knew better, I started to do better.
Exactly. I ain't getting that mess no more. But yeah, I went to St. Croix and I lived there, and I wasn't prepared for that mess either. Like I was trying to navigate that. Like when I got there, they set me up with a place which was super dope. I was happy about that. But I had never paid like rent before and dealt with my own bills. And I'm out here in the middle of nowhere where nobody knows me. I ain't got no family around, and I got to navigate through that. And college ain't prepared me for that. I was, once again, 3 square meals a day. I can eat as much and drink as much as I want to. And you gave me a card with some extra point daddy so I can go to the Pizza Hut if I need to, or the Chick-fil-A. Nah, I was straight. I didn't want to leave either until I just got tired of college though. So that was a completely different situation.
I mean, all relatable content. So honestly, it felt like a bit of a downfall, right? So I'm gonna switch it back a little bit. You know how just like the show with the high school students, how we told them, you know, you have that shift in high school, you make it to the top, you go back down to the bottom again.
Yeah.
It felt that same way leaving college, just in a different form, right? Because it's like, okay, let's put it in a band wheel, right? You made head drum major or drum major, or you made section leader or band captain or whatever your leadership, or what, just the fact that you had 4 marching years, SWAC hours, MEAC hours, whomsoever hours in your back pocket, right?
You got hours
on hours, you know, yours, mine hours. So you have, known on campus, right? You have this clout. You have this comfort. Now I'm about to, not only do I have to figure out, I'm going into code switching mode, because now I'm leaving my HBCU. I'm leaving my folks. Going into the real world. I'm just an incy little number. And damn, when I walk out, you trying to tell me these folks ain't gonna know who I am. That's tough. That's tough to deal with, depending on who you are. I got to start all over, and I don't even know where to start from. Child, please. We don't talk enough about postgraduate depression, because that's the thing too. Because I definitely felt myself like, shit, this is what it's like.
See, first of all, I hit the I agree button, and it was really funny because you were talking at the same time. So it was like 2 of y'all at the same time.
I didn't hear it. What happened?
No,
I agree.
That's what I'm saying.
I do agree. Anyway, postgraduate depression is something.
Yeah, I mean, but real talk. First of all, I've never even heard of that. I think that is something that needs to be talked about. Postgraduate depression. That is real.
I don't know if that's an actual. Oh, I think it's a. Let me look it up. it may be like a thing, but that's like a thing that's made by people, a thing, maybe like a Twitter thing, something like that. But I mean, yeah.
Look, don't get me
Post-graduation
started.
anxiety.
Post-grad depression.
And then, okay, let's talk about this, right? They say, okay, yes, well, you go to career services or what have you. We'll start getting your resume together. Okay, what's the resume gonna say? Because I've never really had a true job that's gonna be that I can put on my resume to get a new job, right? So now you're telling me I gotta have experience to get a job. I gotta have experience to have experience. I gotta have a job to get the experience to get experience for the job that I want. Okay, fine. Now, depending on what type of community or how much knowledge or mentors or whatever that you had, you get a job. Okay, I didn't know going into the workforce that I need to be getting multiple offers. Don't just settle on the first one or two that you get, because I'm like, well, shit, I got me a job. I got my little money coming in. It's up. Like, I'm good. No, girl, you need to be out just because you got your little whatever my starting salary was. Yeah, but are you doing better? But then that goes back to, well, dang, is it because I chose psychology that I'm only able to choose from these quote unquote jobs? Or really and truly, what jobs am I supposed to be trying to get?
Listen, you are preaching right now. Oh,
I'm upset because
I ain't got my praise break music on.
I remember that, Maya. I remember that.
But I remember. See, I got the praise break music on for you. But I just remember my situation. I remember when things got so frustrating for me that and this is a true story, I threw my degree. Like, I was sitting in the house looking at the degree, and I'm like, bro, I cannot get hired. Like, I've graduated, I got my hours, but I cannot get hired. And I just threw my degree. Like, man, F this degree, dog. Like, what is it doing for me? You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's really like what you just said brought that memory back for me, because I now remember what that felt like. I graduated and had nothing. If it wasn't for, well, first of all, the grace of God, I'm gonna put that out there, Father. If it wasn't for you, then none of that would have been possible. But if it wasn't for the grace of God and my boy who was sitting right next to me at the time when it happened, Dr. Sanford got a call that they needed a band director in St. Croix. That was the reason why I went to St. Croix. I ain't go to St. Croix on some chill stuff. I went to work.
Sure.
But the only reason why I got that call is I was sitting in the room at the time when he called, and my boy was like, yo, Luke can go. And I was like, I can go where? He was like, dog, shut up, pack your bag, go.
You going?
That's the only reason. That's the only reason and way that I ended up starting my teaching career, was from that specific situation. So I had never heard of postgraduate depression, but I realized I had that shit. Like,
it's a thing. It's a thing. And people wonder why. Like, and this is kind of going a little bit off topic, but when we talk about people who have less than, or people who may be homeless or whatever, not many of us are 1, 2, 3 paychecks away from being in that same predicament. We wonder what, if we look at the statistics, I mean, sure, there are other things that come to it, but just say, let's put ourselves back when we graduated, right? Everybody doesn't have a support system to go back to. Everybody doesn't have a family that they can knock on the door and say, Mama, Daddy, please let me in. I can't find a job. I need some help. So it could have been any of us.
And hell, you talking about they didn't have it. Some of these parents, and especially old parents, is like, no, you're not coming back to my house.
You're grown and you're gone. You're grown and you're gone up out of here. Absolutely. So it's like, damn. This is just a spiraling conversation, because it's like, okay, well, now, sure, we want to be able to get the new generation. We want to get them amped up. We want to get them excited. We want to get them to go the quote unquote best route that they can potentially go to, so that they can further themselves as individuals and citizens of this god awful place we call Earth. Okay, but then let's think of the severities that could potentially come with it, the pros and the cons. Those are the types of things. What if you are not hitting it, if you don't have the direction that says no, you need to start interning as soon as you sophomore year or whenever you are first able to start interning. You need to be doing that internships and I can't think of the other word from a co-ops. Maybe it's co-ops.
Yeah,
you need to be doing that. You need to be volunteering, Greek life, all these different things. All those things can definitely help you. You need to be building a network. Everybody does not have that same scale or that same journey within school. So it's likely that a lot of these kids are going to continue to be in those same predicaments that we were. And I mean, it's 2022. It's the roaring 20s again, if you ask me. So it's like, okay, well, when they get out of school, now what? Again.
but see, I think here's the truth about it. You know, and I, like I said, I watch a lot of podcasts now. You know, and listen to a lot of podcasts. A lot of people are saying that we about to go back into like a depression. Because the truth of the matter is, let's be real. If we're gonna be super, super honest, the middle class is being cut. Like there's really only going to be the rich and the poor, and the middle class is slowly going away. What does that look like with these kids coming out of college? Hell, going to college, getting and creating massive debt before they come out of college. You know, we at this point, we're lucky to be able to have, you know, certain people who have come in and like, yeah, we're gonna pay these people's college, you know, college debt when you all graduate. Like we've had these really nice situations, but on average, that's not happening. And these kids are coming out, well, hell, going in, creating debt, coming out, starting a life in a system and an economy that is on a whole different level. Yeah, broken. But now they have to navigate through that, find jobs and I go back to the educator side of it, find jobs in a situation where educators are making a mass exit, and they're gonna what, swoop them in, give them this chance to be able to teach, to find out how bull crap it is, so they can then step away from education to find or figure out their lives again. Like it is a crazy situation. And I don't know. I really wouldn't know what the answer is, but I will say that on average, I don't know anybody who has been prepared to leave college. If there is one, like you said in the chat, I need to hear from you.
Please, because I would love to know what that look like.
And I pinned the link for you guys to come in. We got one more topic, and then I'm gonna start bringing folks in. But I pinned the link. If you're on YouTube, you can watch it, or you can come get it on YouTube. But I pinned the link inside of the chat. All right, let's go on to the last topic, and then after that, we'll let some folks in so they can get their thoughts off and talk that talk with us. All right, welcome everybody to Talk That Talk. We have the unfiltered, unscripted, uncomfortable conversations about band, HBCU, band culture, music education, and more. Man, this has been a heavy conversation. So, man, y'all go ahead and smash that like daddy for this conversation today. Also, please make sure you subscribe to the Passion Is Network and turn on notifications. This episode will be up tomorrow on all your podcast networks. Just make sure you type in Real Talk That Talk. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, type in Talk That Talk, and it'll pop right up for you. Last topic. I really felt something with this one, and it really coincides with what we just talked about. And I actually have kind of a personal story with that, but we'll talk about that. I didn't finish my degree. Am I a failure?
Sure. No, you certainly are not a failure. This is wild. This is wild. This is intense. No, you're not a failure, but it's like, how do you tell somebody that, right? Because what am I supposed to do, right? No matter what the issue was or the reason for me not finishing my degree. Okay, if the next best thing is you're not going to finish your degree, go to work. If electricians, if plumbers, if those types of skill sets are not readily available, or like something, or if you don't have like a talent, a hobby, or something that you can grasp in the back of your pocket, what are you supposed to do? You didn't finish your degree, you're not a failure. But again, how do you tell somebody that when you say like, oh, somebody with a bachelor's degree or a master's degree feels the same way? So no, absolutely. Like I would never want anybody to feel like they're a failure. But then, okay, what do we do? What's the solution? Because I don't know what it is. Because now everybody's in this broken boat. This is heavy.
So here's a true story.
Okay, give me one. I'm listening to you. I gotta go stir the pot real quick, but I can hear you.
Making noodles. All right. So this is a true story. The true story is this: the only reason why I stayed at Norfolk State is because I didn't want to come home and feel like a failure. That is the honest to God truth. So as you guys know, from Houston, went to Virginia, stayed in Virginia, ran out of money. Like I marched my 4 years. I marched the 5th year because I had more hours to take, and ran out of money. Had to beg Doc. Said, Doc, man, I need some more bread. I ain't got no more bread. Blah blah blah. He said, well, Luke, I'll give you some more money if you march one more year. Didn't want to march that year. That was the year of the Honda, the big Honda show, 06, 07. But still had a couple more hours to go even after that year. And Norfolk State is high as Giraffe. Yeah. And so, but I didn't want to go home. My mother was like, yo, you can just come home and go to Texas Southern. I was like, Mom, I don't want to come home and not finish something that I started, because I didn't want to feel like a failure. But I've met so many people who did not complete their degree, and they feel like they have not been successful in life because of that fact. They feel like they have failed because of that fact. So yeah, I wonder, and that's where this question came from. Like, if you didn't finish your degree, are you truly a failure?
I don't believe so, but I get it. I get how someone could feel that way. And it doesn't even have to be so much as finishing your degree, no matter what degree it was: bachelor's, master's, PhD, associates, GED. How do you tell somebody, hey, or especially when you had the folks that was like, you can do this. We're going to set you up. Go here. I'm going to make sure I take care of whatever. It wasn't for me. Or no matter, like I said, it doesn't matter how you didn't finish the degree, whether you didn't have the money, whether you just didn't follow, you didn't like it, life happened. Life could happen and swoop you right up on out of that thing without you even necessarily wanting to leave.
True.
So it's like, the resounding statement is no, you're not a failure. But again, and then what, right? So how do we fix that? How do we improve someone's thought process on themselves? Because it's easy to say like, well, had I finished my degree, then maybe I would have had a better chance at life. Maybe I would have had a better chance at getting an opportunity or getting a particular job. But then you have other people on the other hand that say, well, I chose not to go to school, or I dropped out of school because I wanted to, and I'm doing far better than I ever foresaw myself doing or being. So, I mean, for anybody who's well, because, I mean, technically we've all been there, whether it was degree or not, we've all felt like a failure or didn't necessarily complete something that we wanted to. So I think that that's just a life lesson that no, you're not a quote unquote failure, no matter whether, what the issue is or what happened. But yeah, like this is heavy because there could be many reasons why someone did not finish. You see people going back to school every day. You see all, especially on social media, oh, daughter and mother and son graduated, or someone goes back to school and achieves their bachelor's degree at 92, whatever the case may be, it can be done. But again, it does not take away from the fact of your initial experience or what caused you to leave. No, you're not a failure. Absolutely not.
Yeah, and you hit some nails on the head there. The people that I have met who have not completed and feel like a failure, I've also met people on the other side who had this dream and this goal of what they were going to do when they graduated, and then they graduated and they didn't get the job that they wanted to, and now they're working at, I don't know, JC Penney or something like that, and they're like, I just feel like I'm not living up to my potential and I failed because I'm 27 and I'm not where I want to be. I think both sides are a major issue. I think one side of the issue is it's more you get people like me who were like, I didn't want to feel like a failure, so I just kept accruing debt because I didn't want to feel like a failure. And then you have those people who are like, well, I'm a tip and I'm gonna be all right, we just gonna figure it out and I'm gonna have to navigate it. I think there's just so many different sides of the spectrum. I think that what we have to do, I think there's a such thing as, we know there's a such thing as tough love, right? Like we have to find a way to be encouraging. I don't know, be encouraging with still, putting our foot down. I guess if that makes sense, right? Like, no, man, you didn't fail, but you're gonna have to figure it out. You're gonna have to navigate through that, right? Like, and I think that also has to do with parents, our parents, before us, where they put this stigma on us that we have to do it a specific way and live the quote unquote American dream. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching out there, the American dream does not exist anymore.
Period.
It does not. It may have existed in the 80s. May have. It was still around a little bit in the 90s. As of now, the American dream does not exist. Go to college, get a job, you will be straight, does not exist anymore. Now it's just a completely different thought process. As a parent, I'm not telling my kids that. Now, I will tell your kids you're going to have to work for what you want.
Sure.
But I'm not telling my kids that you're going to go to college and you're going to do it. I can't do that. I'm going to encourage them to go to college. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But I'm also not going to tell them that it's the end all be all. And I'm not going to make them feel like it's the end all be all. Now, if you're going to choose to go to college, then I'm going to want you to be successful in it. But I'm not gonna say that's the end all be all. So I don't know. I think that's just my thought process. And I just don't think that you are a failure if you don't finish.
No, I don't think so either. Not in the least bit.
And also, you're not a failure if life doesn't happen the way you want it.
Not in the least bit, whether by trial, by force, or by nature.
Yeah, we got to also be honest with that too, right? Like, we can't sit up and say, well, we I don't know too many people who actually physically say it to people, but I know people who beat themselves up because of it.
Sure.
I know people who are like I said before, I'm 27 and I did this and I'm just not where I need to be. It's okay. Your moment will come. You keep grinding, you keep pushing, you keep doing the things that are going in the right trajectory. Don't just give up on yourself. Listen, and see, now I'm gonna start preaching in a second. Everything happens on God's time, not your time. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So if you know that and if you trust that he will take care of you, all you got to do is just keep putting in the work. All right. There's some people make the things happen the way they want to happen. It's very minute. People who have these long list of things that they write down that they want to happen at certain times, and the percentage of people that happens to is very low. And you can't base your life off of what somebody says they're doing on Instagram. I can tell you right now, most of them is just lying.
Sure.
All right. Stop basing your life off of social media, and please don't base your life off of your partners and your partners' partners. Please. They live in their life. Don't base your life off of that. And I think that's where we fall short too. you know, coming up in the 90s and coming up in the 80s, one of the things that I know a lot of people used to live their life vicariously through was the magazines. You know, whether it was Word Up magazine, you know, we used to, I don't know if you had a Word Up magazine, but back in the day we used to.
I know what a Word Up magazine.
I'm saying I you may know what it is. I don't know if you like had.
Yes, yes.
But yeah, you know,
yes, I know. I had one.
You know, your Word Up magazines, your Source, you know, Ebony's, Jets, all that. Like people would look in that and they would say, this is what I want, and this is what I aspire to be, and this is what I think that it should be. I want to live my life like this. And then when it doesn't turn out that way, you think that you are failing. No, those people are living the life that they should be leading. You live your life, and it will happen the way you need it and or want it to happen. All you got to do is trust and know that you are being led in the right direction by your Lord and Savior. I'm sitting up here preaching, Lord, it ain't even Sunday yet. It's Wednesday, Lord. Oh, Lord Jesus.
Amen.
All right. So, but yeah, so I just think that's what it is. I think that we're living too much vicariously through our social media as well. I think that's what's also happening.
Oh, for sure. Because it's definitely a facade, a simulation, all of it all. Because I can tell you, right, one of my girlfriends, I know somebody right now. I'm talking about at least 80,000 followers. You would think that the going is going on, okay? But when I tell you can't feed themselves, has to be taken care of by, you know, so please don't let that fool you, because just as great as it looks to be, majority of the times, well, I won't say majority of the times, but it's not always what it's cracked up to be or what it seemingly looks like. So
yeah, you being nice majority of the time. I'm just shut up, Justin. Majority.
No, it's a dude. It's a dude, actually.
Smith. He's gonna try to look the page up too.
All right, it's a dude that should actually, like, when I talk about brands, partnerships, all types of stuff, should be hitting it, but it's knocking on somebody's door to get a meal to feed themselves, asking for $20 to put in the gas tank type. Like,
I mean, like I said, I think it's a majority of the time though. Like,
oh, for sure.
Like,
I mean,
listen. I'm gonna just go to put it out there. This ain't got nothing to do with what we talk with this specific conversation, but it does. Like I tell my wife all the time, like, stop looking at these chicks who think they got these like super dope bodies. Like, these bodies are fake, bro. And then they'll put it up like it's real. It ain't real. You
now don't make it hard for the natural body girls. Now,
no,
don't do that.
No. But that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I think the natural body women need to be a little bit more prevalent. But what happens is that's not what's happening. What's happening is people going to get paid, getting their bodies paid for, and then saying, come and buy my tummy tea, and then saying you got to do is buy these little band daddies my tummy tea, and also get on my little program. They ain't really do. You know what I'm saying? Like, most of these people are faking. So is there a sector of people who are really doing it and getting out of the mud and, you know what I'm saying, actually working for it? Absolutely.
Sure.
But the majority of people on social media is faking it. I'm just gonna keep it 100. No,
you're exactly right. And take it a step further. I mean, I'm back in fake capital. I'm in right smack dab in Houston, where everybody is a celebrity.
Hey, man, we're not talking about.
No, this is talk that talk, so we're gonna talk it. Do everybody is a gajillionaire.
Today is 713, man. We ain't gonna do
exactly. Prime day to talk about it.
Oh man, don't do that to me.
Fakers Finesse's day.
Okay.
Yeah. Now you know everybody down here is a celebrity. Everybody is that girl. Everybody is that dude. Everybody got stacks on stacks on stacks. I can go get a section whenever I want to, and I should just be walking around with my glasses on, my ant-shaped body, and whatever the case may be, just because it's Finesse's country out here.
But I'm gonna be real. Being somebody from the city, that's actually a new. It's been that way. It hadn't always been that way.
No. I fully agree. But I'm saying right here, right now, this in Atlanta, and this child.
Yeah. Houston and Atlanta is pretty basically very, very
scam capitals of the world.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie to you. You're absolutely right. All right, man. Shoot, we gonna wrap this one up, and Yeah, man. See, I feel you. I ain't feeling this Houston slander, man. We ain't gonna be doing this today, man. We ain't gonna be doing it, man. We not.
There's no slander. It's nothing but facts over here.
Hey, look, I didn't come up in that era of the city, so that's this new age. That's the new age.
But it's still relevant right now.
I guess. All right, man. Let's go ahead and let some folks in. Quan trying to get in here. I don't know if I should let Quan in.
Now let him suffer.
Yes. All right, let's let Justin in, and we're gonna let Quan in while Justin got his topics going. All right, come on, Justin. What's up, bro?
Justin, you on mute.
We can't even hear you, dog. Yeah,
maybe your speaker not working. Try it again.
Check your audio settings. Let's go ahead and let Quan in. His old phony picture.
Not bad, Kevin.
Oh, also, man, if you guys want to get in and talk that talk with us, man, I pinned the link in the top of the chat in YouTube, so you can go ahead and hit that. If you want to, Justin, come back out. No, because we can't hear you. So go back out and then come back in. God, Lee, got the big face on here. All right, what's up, Quan? What you got, bro? Phony.
You want to do all that and you ain't got no sound, no nothing.
Oh, Lord.
And you in the car.
I can't hear him. Are you talking? Oh, y'all phony today, boy. Y'all ain't no audio coming in.
Can't hear you either.
You hear me now?
There we go. We got you.
Boy, I'm about to say, I don't know what's going on. Man, y'all on here preaching tonight, man. I'm talking about, I'm in this thing. Yes, that's my end. That what it was, that post-graduation depression, whatever that was y'all talking about. Listen, I went through that thing. I'm talking about you gotta keep up with the Joneses. Like you gotta find a reason to graduate because the kids that actually look up to you because you're so popular on campus, they graduated before you. You know what I'm saying? You start not to know people on campus because all these new people here. I did exactly what you did. I picked up another major because I definitely wasn't no ready to graduate. I had no job lined up. What? Man, I'm talking about. I'm on the subway paper right now and stuff that I'm just doing a few things. When you're grown, you're gone. That's a real thing. Parents, which I don't agree with because I had a friend in college. His people was, you know what I'm saying, and they talk about generational wealth. He was able to graduate college and go back home and work and live down until he stacked his money to get out. We don't do that as the best. Something I was thinking about. You was talking about when you go, you're grown, but some people have it different. I come from that good poor, been working at McDonald's to save my money to go through high school and college. I'm talking about, I know a situation to where a dude graduated college and his family depended on him to be the breadwinner now because they sacrificed him to go to college. And imagine if he didn't have a job. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like, that's a whole nother depression. Your family gave all their money to you to go to school and you ain't turned out to be what they thought you was gonna be. So imagine that. What I was saying, y'all was talking about the photography and stuff like that. Like sometimes I do be saying to myself, I graduated in mass communications, public relations, and I got a degree in criminal justice. And sometimes I sit up here and say, like, dang, I really could have did this without a college degree. Pick up that camera like your friend Luke. I'm talking about I used my degree, worked for a PR firm, did it, hated it in Atlanta, whatever, office in the sky, suits and ties every day, just didn't like it, you know what I'm saying? But then picked up this, now I'm living better than I ever thought I would be. Like you just said, Houston, the fake it till you make it capital of the world. try being able to, I can buy a section any night of the week I want to. But try having it and not really not having it. I could, but do I want to?
Sure.
No, so y'all preach about so much stuff. I just want to let y'all know y'all would hit the nail on the head. I'm talking about, Luke, when you was asking out for most scholarship money, that was me asking the housing lady because I was an RA. Can I be an RA one more semester so I wouldn't have to pay for my housing or whatever? And doing the same thing, like this needs to be talked about more. You know what I'm saying? Last thing, you went to college. I'm from the hood. You put him in the hood. I was the one that when somebody go down, Jay, go inside because you can't be out here because you got to be the one to leave out. I'm talking about when you went to college and everybody expecting you to be so much, But then you watching your friends who didn't go to college, like start their life and start businesses and make a lot of money that no debt. So dang, the one who probably envy me for going to college, probably making more money than I am after I graduate. You know what I'm saying? Last thing I said, one last thing. Career services at a lot of these schools be BS. They do. Yep. I'm talking about I interned for career services and I was like, I got a job at the school being a recruiter, so I understand how things work. I just feel like we just need to do a better job. Like now, when we talk about band scholarships, I'm cool with a lot of band directors in HBCU. I don't even promote their schools a lot unless I know for sure you trying to give money to these kids to help. Like, is they gonna have $1,000 debt each semester? I can work with that because I can give a kid another $1,000. He can be going to school free. Versus us just trying to get kids to go to school. Like Luke, you say you might not even preach college to your kids. You probably gonna preach whatever. It's so much like y'all we can expose some stuff on this live, but we hitting the nail on the head. So I just want to let y'all know there's some real topics. Me and my Subway paper. I don't know if you got a little Instagram sign, but y'all is on it tonight. I just want y'all to know.
Hey man, anytime. You already know how it is, man. We gonna try to keep it as real as possible, bro.
Yes, sir.
Man, appreciate you, man. As always.
All right, man.
Hi, thank you.
Bro. What you want, Quan?
Say, bro, stop all that, bro. Stop all that. Stop all that. Miss y'all too, bro. You like the big brother that was like, bro, he don't want to play the game with me, bro. Come on, bro. I'm trying to be great out here. I'm trying to be great.
You good with me, man. You good. What's good? You just hanging out, or you just trying to tap in with us? Trying to get in on the last couple of minutes, or you just want to talk?
Yeah.
Not with that Metro PCS.
I don't even know what he said. What'd you say now?
He said, he said,
look at it. They got the wheel going. Yeah, it's tight. We gonna leave him up. Come on here, Chuck, man. What you got, bro?
What's up, family? Y'all doing all right?
Yeah, we good.
Hey, what's up? Well, first and foremost, I apologize. I came in late. I'm just waking up from that after band camp nap. I see Quan is in band camp right now too. So,
listen, before you even go in, that after band camp nap be the best nap ever, bro.
I was like stuck to the bed. I was glued to the bed.
Listen, that time go by so quick when you snoring and you wake up, you like, God dang, 5 hours.
Hey, real talk. My daughter, she's 12 and she's coming to band camp. She's always came to band camp, but she's actually participating with the dance line. And I woke up to a text. This is real. She was like, Dad, you didn't wake me up. We're late for camp. She thought it was the next day.
Yeah. Hey, I did that one time. When I first started teaching, it was about maybe 4 years after. Man, I was knocked out and I woke up and it was night and I was like, oh shoot. And I started getting up and I looked at the clock. I was like, oh man, God damn, I was laid back down.
That's exactly what happened. I was like, babe, it's not even the next day. So
that's so sweet.
Right. So, but no, when I came in, it's crazy, Julie and our stories are parallel in a lot of ways. And one of the things that I was thinking, because you were mentioning about like running out of money, and that was definitely happened to me. But, what if it was, I think of my situation a little bit. Like my first year was at a school that, I didn't want to go to. But I had to go because money, it was being taken care of. Everything was taken care of. And coming from a single income home, my dad being a retired military and my mom medically retired, it was like, hey, this is where you got to go. And it ended up not being like the best fit, for me. And I had to make a way to get to eventually where I wanted to go, and then ended up kind of being back. But I bring that up because like Justin just said, a lot of times, and I can say this confidently, that sometimes, our collegiate directors or even our colleges, I tell my students it's a business, and they sell a dream, sell a dream sometimes. And I always give them the comparison. I always say two things. One, I always say, you don't go to Best Buy to buy a watermelon. because they don't sell them there. So why would you go to a school that doesn't have your major and is investing in students? I can honestly say, one of my alma maters, I mean, A&T has 3 buildings for engineering. They're like 2 to 3 floors. You see what they're investing their money and their time in. And that's attractive for those individuals being in that major. But I also say, I was like, would you ever go to a store and spend not even $300, but $100 and not know what you're getting? And so a lot of times we send kids to school, they have no idea what they want to do. And I think it's such it cripples them early.
I agree.
When they're not like have an idea. I was fortunate. I knew when I was coming in what I was going to major in and what I wanted to do. Of course, there was a lot of trials and tribulations along that way, because of what they don't tell us is, as a music major, you understand that most of our classes are 1 credit hour classes. I mean, my freshman schedule was 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11. I had a little break for lunch, jazz rehearsal, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Then I had to get my butt ready for a rehearsal for band practice, which started at 5 and ended at 11:30 at night sometimes. Like, wow, some of my friends were getting done with class at 1 o'clock.
And that's why it was
at noon
for me. That's why it was difficult for me, because I was an out-of-state student.
Oh God! So it's
trying
double.
to pay for those 1 credit classes, and like I said, ran out of bread, ran out of money.
Yeah, and that's a reality, and it happens. And I think again we sell this dream, and of course, it just works out, I guess, for some of us that we get to go to the college that we want to go to, and then they have a good band program. And we're like, hey, like, okay, it's got everything. But there's a lot of kids that are picking their schools based off a band, and they're not majoring in music. And it's just kind of, you're in this cycle. I mean, we all remember, waiting in that line for a refund check, and it was like, everybody was just like, man, some people didn't get it. Some people didn't get a refund at all.
I got one. That was it.
Right. And I mean, I just think about these long lines that people were just waiting. And really that was like a lifeline. But to be honest, sometimes we were just blowing it. I mean, you remember, and now they got lawsuits out there, but I remember they used to get me all the time, be like, hey, free pizza if you fill out this credit card application. And we were like, man, we better get this pizza, dog. And it killing our credit score, and that thing staying on there for years, man. So, for what I caught, definitely this is a conversation that needs to be had. And I'm so excited that I'm starting to see auxiliary and dance lines start to invest in endowments for scholarships. Like I always have a senior right now, and she is interested in majoring in engineering, and I'm like, and she can twirl, she can dance. I'm like, you got to consider going to A&T. She's like, yes, it's on my list. And I know that they've been starting an endowment to get these girls scholarships. Like the amount of time that they spend, being invested in this university program, they deserve it just like everybody else. And I love like FLOMO, Florida Memorial. I've got to spend a lot of time with a lot of their staff, and I know a lot of them indirectly. And they say everybody gets a scholarship, whether it's like $2,000 to $10,000, everybody. And I think just like our athletes, I think of the Fab Five at Michigan. And I remember watching the 30 for 30 on them, and they were like, man, we just sold out this home game, but we don't have enough money for pizza. Our jerseys are being sold, all this merchandise, and we don't get a dime. And I know some folks, feel some type of way about college athletes getting some finances, but if they're giving a huge service to the university, like A&T, we used to see billboards of the band, Blue and Gold Marching Machine, all this stuff all over the place, and none of us getting any scholarship money. I did 5 consecutive seasons in that band and got scholarship my last semester. And because I needed to stay. And so I was like, Doc, I don't have any money. I ran out of financial aid. I cannot, participate if I don't have my bill cleared. And fortunately, he was able to make some calls and make some things happen. But, we just never had it. We just never had it and available. So you think about the tons of people that have given this service to the university band program and never get a dime, and then still trying to figure out navigate school. It's just it's crazy. So like you were saying, Julian, for our kids, we college is an option. It's not the end all be all, but it's definitely, we preach to our kids about just investing in their education, and there's several different ways to learn, and to grow and to be better. But I feel that things are changing on the education side. If you didn't see this, everybody's posting like North Carolina's, they're like the worst state, for teacher pay. I taught there for 7 years.
We watched, we posted, we talked about
it. Did?
Yeah.
It's insane. And I'm like, man, I've dealt with that for 7 years, like just trying to pinch pennies, and figure it out. And it's insane. What some of these states do. I remember Texas came and recruited a bunch of North Carolina teams. They swept a bunch. They were like, "What? We getting paid for this, and we get to live in Texas, man. We about to bounce." If I would have known that earlier, I probably would have did it too. But again, I think these topics are more important, and we have to continue just being honest about it. We had a Facebook group at A&T, and it was, I want to blow up the financial aid office. Because every time we went, it was some type of hassle. It was some type of mess. And that is like, you can hear it about all of our HBCUs. There are like 4 programs, not to switch topics right now, that don't have band directors. And camp or school is about to start really soon.
They ain't announced, they don't either have band directors or they haven't announced who the band director is.
Right. And I know several of those candidates, and if they've talked to me in private, they're like, bro, like, how am I supposed to move from state to state in the next week or so? I got a whole family. Some of them are not providing moving expenses. Some of them are not. Like, the pay is horrible. You get paid more teaching in public schools than you do on these university levels, but you have way more responsibilities. So, again, these conversations have to continue being told. I feel that there are a shift, because I did hear of some universities kind of upping things up on the finances and moving expense. And I'm like, okay, they're starting to get it. But again, we sell this dream, and there's so much attached to it.
Yeah, man, most definitely. And I think I'm gonna be honest, like, I always want to try to bring up the conversations that are either not being had or should be had. And one of the things that we realize with conversations like this, we don't know everybody's story.
Sure.
We look at everybody, and that kind of goes back to that social media thing that we were talking about earlier. But we look at everybody and we see them like, oh man, they doing all right, they all right, but we don't know their story. It's so many people who will look at somebody like me and envy me and things like that. And I may be looking at them and like, man, they got something that I like, what I'm saying? But they don't know the things that I've been through, the struggles that I've had, the times that I went without, what I'm saying? I distinctly remember, and I'm pretty sure she don't mind me putting it out there, because I don't mind being very transparent. But I distinctly remember there was a time when I had to go give my plasma to just get to dinner, or get lunch, or just be able to eat, sitting up in the chair like, shoot, I hope nobody who knows me walks in right now and see me giving this blood and this plasma, what I'm saying, to get this couple of bucks. Like, so I mean, and that goes back to the navigation of after we leave school, because this happened after I got out of school, right? So like I said, we just don't know everybody's story. We just don't know everybody's situation. So these conversations are great, because it gives us a reason to find out why we're more connected than we think we aren't. So yeah,
right,
definitely 100%.
Nah, I definitely agree, man. And on the flip side, though, because you guys were talking about just again, everybody's story being different. There are some things that people that made a decision either to go in a different direction before finishing or not, that we could have did better to kind of help our situation. I know as teachers we have to do our observation hours and then student teaching and things like that, and a lot of times we are either not guided in the right direction, or we just kind of You know, like just with the practice exam, we wait to the last second to kind of, you know what I'm saying, get our stuff together and then wonder why like things don't pan out. Like there's some things that could be, you know, done a whole lot better to get the end result, you know, to get the end result that you wanted. I wish I would have did my master's a whole lot earlier than when I did. I think it was like 10 years after. And I was like, oh my goodness, I got homework. Like this is, you know, my daughter's doing homework and I got homework as well too, you know. And so definitely, you know, there's two sides of the coin. Of course, they say hindsight is 20/20, but I do feel that we have to, and we can get back to the collegiate talk. We have to have individuals in these positions that have been through these different situations, and this is where experience comes in. I'm not one to say that you have to have, you know, they say highly degreed and certified and stuff. Yes, that stuff is important, but you got to have the experience with it. That goes a long way. Like when military people get out of their service, they have tons of years of experience, and you know, and that accounts for something in different areas, and we have to have that when you have younger individuals in certain positions, and not saying, you know, it happens all the time, but you have younger people in these positions and they don't have that experience and just experience in life. It's kind of hard to be a mentor and to give guidance and those things. Like I was always told as a director, they were like, okay, you're going to have seniors that are going to graduate and they're going to stick around the city and they're going to want to help out the band. Like they need to go experience life first, because there's a lot of things that can happen, because the current students still think of them as their buddy, their friend, and there could be a lot of issues. And I've learned my lesson. We all listen, and sometimes we don't, you know, in regards to, you know, those type of situations. But, you know, again, on the collegiate level, we are training adults. We're training adults, future leaders in America. And if we don't have individuals that have those life experiences underneath their belt, then I don't know. You know, we had older directors. I know, Julian, you know, you had O'Neill said for Paul Adams. They didn't see it all. You know, Doc Hodge, Doc Ruff, you know, I mean, they've just been around and they're like, all right, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. If you do this, this is what's going to happen, you know, and we listened to it and we didn't, you know, and just the stress of life. So, you know, yeah, this is my 5 cents.
But man, you know, we always appreciate it, brother. Man, you know, I always love hearing your 2 cents.
I know it turns into 10, but yeah.
No, you good, man. But you know, we appreciate you, man. You know, 100%. And I want to make sure you ready for that band camp tomorrow, bro.
Oh yeah, now let me tell you, I had that big nap. Now I'm up.
Now you good. Now you wide awake.
Now I'm thinking, look, this is my band handbook. Just trying to, you know what I'm saying?
Update it. Get it right for this new year already.
Right.
I already know, man.
Appreciate y'all, man.
Appreciate you, man. Always. All
right, y'all take care.
All right, bro.
Peace.
Man, all right. You got your food next to you? You good? You get noodles? Oh. You making noodles?
I was making spaghetti. Well, I was making fried chicken and spaghetti because I just had a craving for it. I couldn't find no catfish at the store, so I had to settle for chicken.
That's a thing, catfish and noodles. I mean, catfish
and spaghetti.
Yeah, that.
So, to be honest with you, coming from Texas, it wasn't a thing. It was a learned thing from my friends that Mississippi and Alabama and all that. But now it's a staple.
Word.
Absolutely.
Will not be a staple for me. Anyway,
you tried a little white bread, a little catfish.
I don't know. That ain't for me. All right. Well, let's get ready to go home. Go ahead and get out of here so she can hit her catfish and noodles.
Calling them noodles.
I mean, they are noodles. I mean, no matter how you slice it, it's noodles. All right. Any final thoughts? Anything you got for the culture?
Wow. Boy, we had a time. Like, wow, this was a very, very, very good show. And I think that there's still some things that we could even uncover a little bit more. Obviously, nobody, as much as we like to say we haven't figured out, we don't quite have it figured out. So, I mean, just my goodness, I don't even know where to start. I'm almost speechless. Who would have thunk it? You know? But yeah, it's been a great show. As always, can't wait to do it again. Can't wait to see the folks on what is that, August 27th. I have to figure out something gotta figure out what I'm gonna wear.
Uh-oh. The star is coming out, so
we gotta figure out a little something. We gotta make it worthwhile.
Dude, I'm just gonna be in regular clothes. Regular. She about to shine on everybody. All right. So yeah, right. You ready, and we got to figure out. Well, we'll talk
some situations. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, figure out what we're gonna do, what's going down during that weekend. But yeah, we'll get all that stuff together. You got a show tomorrow?
Hope so.
I mean, I'll just make it.
I forgot to text Portia. Let me text.
I didn't forget, and I sent. You know what?
Life happens. Isn't that what we figured out today? Life be life, and okay.
Life be life, and you still gotta do what
I know.
At some point. I sent it to you yesterday, didn't I? Oh Lord, help her, Jesus. Help
time is time. We're just in a simulation. That's all it is. Time is not real.
We in the Matrix.
Yes, time is not real.
Anyway, man, this has been a great show. Unfortunately, Quan couldn't get in. His service was phony. He was still trying to get in and drive at the same time. It just didn't happen that way. But it's all good, man. Second of all, let me also say, man, H-Time Day 713, man, all ready for the city. So you know, I got to shout out the city every time. As a matter of fact, shouting out the city tomorrow. I've been watching them. If y'all ain't watching them, I don't care. You know, I'm a rock with the city the whole time. But the summer league, NBA, these new three boys that we done picked up. So you know, they doing all right for right now in the summer league. We're gonna see what they do with the rest of the squad. But H-Town all day 713. Other than that, man, make sure you go ahead and smash that like, daddy, man, before you go out of here. Make sure you subscribe to the Passengers Network. Remember, this episode will be up tomorrow on all your podcasts and networks. Just type in Real Talk That Talk, except for Apple. On Apple Podcasts, type in Talk That Talk. You can listen to this episode as well as all of the other episodes on all the podcast networks, and you can also find us on YouTube where you are right now, unless you're on Facebook. All right. We will have one more show. I think I decided on one more show for next week, and then we're gonna take a little break, daddy. I guess we're not gonna have one more show.
No, I was gonna say we're gonna end on the Donald Trump episode. We need to end on the Barack episode.
What are you talking about?
This 44, ain't it? We're gonna end on 45. I'm just talking per you.
Oh, I didn't see. You realize I didn't even know what the hell you talking about.
This is what I be thinking. The girl in my head, that's what she said.
That's what the little Maya said. All right, well, then we'll have some discussions about it. I do want to be able to give y'all break, and we do need to break before we come into our second year, season 2 of Talk That Talk. So we'll definitely be taking that break. So we'll chop it up and talk about it. Other than that, man, I have nothing else. This has been an amazing episode. Once again, make sure you click that like button on the way out. And also, if you're watching and you're not watching live and you watch it later, you can go ahead and click that like button as well. All right. Other than that, we ain't got nothing else. We will see you guys next week.
Bye.